Hi everybody, my name is Summer and welcome back to my channel. Today I am recreating the Foxbury Student Commons in Brightchester. I actually really liked the style of the original Student Commons that EA created for Foxbury, but it was really empty and didn't have a ton of items that benefited the students going to university. So I wanted to renovate and recreate this space to include a cafeteria, a library with a debate area, a student study lounge area, a gym, a basketball court, an art center, and a robotics lab. That way, every major would benefit from coming here. So I wanted to create the exterior of the building really similar in style to the other buildings you can see around this area. So very modern, lots of glass. They're all white with black accents. So eventually I end up going with a similar style. But the one thing I do really like about all of the buildings in this part of Brightchester is that even though they do all have a very similar look and feel, they all are different and have their own personality, I guess. Like that, the student dorms I know are super similar, but the rabbit hole buildings or the shell buildings, I guess you could call them, they all are really pretty, and so I wanted to make sure that this building had its own personality, but still looked, I guess, like a university building. So right now I am just playing around with different door options. I've tried to sneak in a couple red accents, but I want to do it in a way where it's tasteful and it's not so in your face and kind of kitty like. So I think for the door, the ones that I placed down right now, I do have them white, but they'll change to black later because I end up going for a more black accent versus the white accents that you can see here. So the columns will all change to black. This fencing, I think I do end up leaving white, but the doors and the windows I add will also be black. So my intention for the fencing that you can see kind of scattered around the building is that that's where landscaping would go. So I'll throw in some red and white flowers in the next video, and you can kind of see how this all comes to life in a little bit towards the end of the video. This is part one of this build. I didn't want to rush it. I wanted to be able to take my time and make sure that it turned out how I wanted it to turn out. So I did a lot of trial and error to try to find what would work best for this area. Yeah, so right now I'm just lining up these windows. I didn't really care for where they were auto placing, so I wanted to make sure that I lined them up all properly. And yeah, I'm just playing around with how the side of the building looks. So I actually inset that area right there so I can have like a more grand entrance. So this would probably be like the main entrance to the building. Then I'm placing some more terrain areas and kind of mapping out where the paths lead up to the building off of the sidewalks. Okay, so this kind of gives you a better idea of how and where the terrain will go. So right now I'm just kind of filling in terrain paints of where I want to place plants around this area of the building. I wanted it to be a good mix of like the built environment and the natural environment. Similar to the rest of the world, there's a ton of greenery in this world, which I love. I like that it's not just like super full of pavement. So I went through a couple different color concepts of how to do the exterior of this building. I played with that like illuminated paint from Spa Day, and different kind of tiles and concretes in the space. I didn't know exactly what route I wanted to go on. This is the part that I always find the trickiest, because while we do have a lot of options, I feel like a lot of them are pretty similar to each other and we don't have that much of a variety. And I wanted to go outside my comfort zone, so I'm kind of playing with this like marbly stone looking I guess paint or siding in black here. And I do really like the texture of that. I love how it looks. And again, I'm trying to incorporate a little bit of red in tasteful ways on that second level, but I decided to get rid of it. And now I'm looking for like a tan color, because when I originally pictured this build, I pictured that bottom level to be more of a tan. Yeah, so here's where I decided that I'm gonna have black accents, and it's going to be mostly white on the exterior, except for the windows and doors and columns, which I think looks a lot better. I think it matches the rest of the world a lot more with it being white, and it's not so heavy. Oh, and those red accents right here, that's the like illuminated red paint from Spa Day. So I really like how that looked, and I thought that it looked pretty cool. I might end up changing it because I'm not sure if it looks a little tacky or not. It hasn't completely grown on me yet, but I'm pretty happy with how it's starting to turn out. So right now I'm just trying to do a basic floor plan of how everything will lay out in the space. So right now I'm trying to stack all the bathrooms. In the real world, you do try to stack plumbing as much as possible to keep costs down. And obviously that doesn't really matter in The Sims, but I think that it looks nice if your building has a core in it that you can kind of build everything else off of. And so I'm using that restroom as kind of the core of the building. And then here I'm just playing around with how the spaces can divide and kind of lay out. There's a lot of spaces I want to fit into this build, but I have a ton of space, so it's just configuring it so it all lays out nicely, which you'll see in a future video. But here I'm just playing with the stairs. I wanted to have at least 2 stairs that got upstairs. If we had elevators that worked, I would have put that in there, but I don't think the elevators that came from City Living actually you can build with. I think there's mods and stuff for it, but I don't have that in my game. So yeah, just trying to figure out how I'm gonna fit a couple stairs on the second level, since it is kind of an odd shape. I think I do just end up putting them in both corners, leading up to the 3rd level. And then I played around for a while with the different railings. I honestly hate the railings in this game. I think that if there's a wall on one side of the stairs, there shouldn't be a railing. And I like that the railings and the fences match each other, but I don't like how they overlap. So if you can see where the railing meets the stairs, it looks like there's 2 panes of glass, which I'm not a huge fan of, and I wish it wasn't like that because I think it makes something that could be really minimal look kind of cluttered, which is unfortunate. But I just quickly gave the restroom some tile and wallpaper on the outside of it, and then I moved up to the third level, and this is the level that I want the gym and the basketball court to be on. Probably again not ideal in real life, but I think that this is the biggest area of space, and if I didn't want the basketball court outside, which I didn't have room for really, it needed to be on this third level. So I did have to turn on the move objects cheat in order to place a basketball court up in the building. I haven't play tested it yet, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. So I'm just quickly figuring out if there's a good color scheme, which there is, the red, thankfully. And then here I'm just playing around with the different types of flooring that could go in here. I didn't know if I wanted a traditional like wood floor like you see in a lot of like high school gyms, or if I wanted something that looked a little bit more like terrazzo or like rubber flooring. But I couldn't find anything that I really like, so I did end up just going with a wood option. But that wraps up part 1 of the Foxbury Student Commons build. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you for part 2. Thank you.